Baba deo, oguye kudeye baba wo. Baba deo, oguye kudeye baba.
Okay, so I wanted to use Marvel's comic book character, the Black Panther, as a springboard to discuss topics related to African STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So the story of Marvel's Black Panther is an interesting and fictional story which weaves together and draws upon multiple fascinating factual elements found throughout various African cultures throughout time. Perhaps the most important of these facts and themes in the story of the Black Panther is the significance of metallurgy and blacksmiths in African culture, spiritual systems, and technological development. So first, let's discuss the fictional story of the Black Panther and the fictional country of Wakanda. So the story basically goes 10,000 years ago, a meteorite composed of a metal called vibranium crashed on planet Earth and landed in the country of Wakanda in northeastern Africa. The crashed vibranium meteorite created a mountain or mound, which was discovered by the Panther tribe in Wakanda, who became the guardians of the vibranium mound. The deities Bast and Sekhmet are two feline deities of the Panther tribe, and the king and protector of the Panther tribe is a warrior who holds the title of the Black Panther. The Black Panther also has a group of all-female warriors who serve as his personal bodyguards called the Dora Milaje. As guardians of the vibranium metal mound, the Panther tribe became skilled blacksmiths and metallurgists in antiquity, which translated into a highly technologically advanced and economically stable African country in present day, where one of the major resources of the country of Wakanda is the vibranium metal. Because of their high level of advanced technology, Wakanda has never been conquered, colonized, or enslaved. So now let's discuss the factual elements that the story of the Black Panther and Wakanda draws on. So in reality, the metal that was basically transformative in terms of technological development in antiquity was iron. Now, when we study the history of iron and iron smelting, we find that the earliest known iron artifacts are 9 small beads dated to 3200 BC, and they were found in ancient Egypt, northeastern Africa. These 9 small beads were meteoric iron that was shaped by hammering, and this evidence shows that the ancient Africans in Egypt were the first to use iron prior to the official start of the Iron Age. The ancient Egyptians called this meteoric iron Ba in Pet, meaning iron from the sky or metal from heaven. Additionally, the ancient Egyptians' word for the blacksmith's forge was kepesh, and this same word kepesh was a homonym to a word used for a scimitar-shaped metal weapon casted in a blacksmith's forge, as well as to the constellation of the Great Bear, Ursa Major. One of the names of the 7th pharaoh of ancient Egypt's first dynasty was Mer-Ba-Pen, which literally translated as lover of iron, which showed the fundamental importance of iron to the ancient Egyptian culture as early as the first dynasty. The ancient Africans in Egypt, who were blacksmiths and metallurgists, also had knowledge of several different types of metals and metal alloy. We have metal nether words for meteoric iron, which was Ba in Pet, metal nether words for smelted iron, which was Benpi, gold was Nu, silver Hetch, copper, tin, bronze, gold, silver alloy, and electrum. These are all metals or metal alloys that we actually found attested to in the metal nether. Now, the metal nether word for blacksmith was messen, singular, and messinu, plural. So it is my belief that this metal nether word messen, which meant blacksmith, is actually cognate to our English word mason. Again, they're similar in phonetics and have a similar definition or meaning. Additionally, the word nebi in metal nether meant to smelt or to work in metals, and it was a homonym to the word which meant leopard or panther. So the word nebi in metal nether could have been used to refer to a blacksmith or to a leopard or a panther. Now, the ancient Egyptian blacksmith deity Ptah, who represented the primordial mound. Again, remember that the vibranium mound was the home of the Panther tribe in Wakanda, and here the actual blacksmith deity in ancient Egypt was Ptah, who represented the primordial mound, and he had 2 wives, Sekhmet and Bast, which were both represented by felines. Ptah's son by Bast was the lion-headed deity of war named Mahes, who was also called Apedemek in Meroe and Nubia. Additionally, the S.T.E.M priests of Ptah, who were also blacksmiths and metallurgists, wore leopard skins, and again, these people were more scientists than priests, more engineers than magicians, contrary to popular interpretation. Additionally, the wearing of leopard skins was a custom of the Nubians of Meroe, and the Nubian kingdom of Meroe was a huge iron smelting capital in antiquity. Now, it's important to know that a panther is just a melanistic leopard. Anytime you see a black panther, it's essentially the same thing as a leopard. It's just all black. So after the fall of the ancient Egyptian and Nubian empires, over time, we see various leopard secret societies Portuguese, who are also blacksmiths, spring up across the African continent. We have the Ekpe Leopard Society in Nigeria, who writes using the Nsibidi script. We have the Abakua Leopard Society in Cameroon and Nigeria. We have the Anyoto Anita Leopard Society in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ivory Coast, and Nigeria. And we have the Leopard Society of Basilan in Liberia, who writes using the Vai script. In the books African Jungle Doctor by Werner Jung and Jungle Pilot in Liberia by Abe Gunther, an experience in Basilan, Liberia during the early 1900s is described, where reports were made about leopard men and people who would dress in leopard skins and fashion and wear claws of steel, which they would use as weapons. Brass metal rings, which represented water spirits, were forged by the blacksmiths of the tribes of Basilan and left as offerings to the brass god of the leopard men. The Kru people believe that these objects are actual living creatures that can be found in creeks, rivers, and lagoons. So again, this is an actual factual account of Africans who were blacksmiths on the continent who actually dressed in leopard skins and crafted metal weapons, just like the Black Panther from the Marvel Comics. Now, these metal objects that they call water spirits have shared interpretive meaning with the Dikinga cosmogram from the Congo, Thor's spinning hammer, also called the swastika, and Ta's hammer. All of these objects have the same interpretive meaning, which have a direct connection to blacksmiths. So when we talk about spirits of the water, we can find a direct connection with that to the Dogon blacksmiths in the story of the Nomo. The Mandi, Bamana, and Dogon blacksmiths of Mali tell stories about water spirits called the Nomo, who were blacksmiths of a metal from the star Sirius called Sagala. The Mandi blacksmiths also control a force called Nyama, which is synonymous with Nyami of the Akan culture. An important blacksmith ancestor in Akan culture is Nana Adade Kofi. The Mandi blacksmiths of Mali form castes called Numu. Again, we have a phonetic similarity of the Numu blacksmith caste to the Nomo blacksmiths spoken of by the Dogons. In the Dogon mythology, one of the Nomo blacksmiths was named Ogo, who is synonymous with the Orisha blacksmith Ogun in Nigeria. And the blacksmith culture in Nigeria has actually existed since 1000 BC with the Nok people. Ogo in Mali and Ogun in Nigeria are also called Gu in the Dahomey culture of Benin. Now, in the Dahomey culture, the blacksmith Ogun, Ogo, or Gu is said to be married to the warrior Orisha Oya. The 19th century kingdom of Dahomey, who were practitioners of the system of Udun, which acknowledged Oya, developed an all-female military regiment who were an embodiment of the warrior Orisha Oya. So this is where the Black Panther fictional story got its concept of the Dora Milaje all-female warrior force. Additionally, the warrior queen characteristic found amongst the women of the Dahomey kingdom was also found amongst the Kandakis or Candaces of the Nubian iron smelting city of Meroe. So as we can see, the role of the blacksmith has been central and integral to African culture, society, spirituality, and technology through the ages. And the leopard, panther, or feline has been one of the symbols associated with African blacksmiths since ancient